My friends, just when I think, I keep saying this. I'm repeating myself to the point of repeating myself. Just when I think, okay, we figured every stratum of this. We have discussed everything there is regarding the debate and Candace and Pickles and PBD, and that's it. Let's move on. Let's kind of move on. I think no, no, not even close. Not even close. The levels of complexity of this are unbelievable. I mean, I don't know necessarily why. I don't know what the reason for this is, but it is unbelievable in terms of how complicated this issue is. And so I'm looking at this. Yes, of course, what happened, but I'm looking at it at other angles too, of how we are entering into this new kind of debate. Last night, or this morning, I should say, when I was on WABC, I'm saying to that audience, I said, "You don't understand how big this was. You really don't understand it. You don't get it. This is huge, as we say in the kitchen. Huge. It's beyond anything. We also have so much to say. First, welcome. Like the video, please. Blah, blah, blah. Subscribe. Okay. Pickles is trailer trash, low rent, redneck, boorish, churlish, kind of a hayseed. You'd call him a redneck. He's just a kind of an oaf, kind of a guy at the. Let me just ask you something, ladies. If you came home, if your daughter came home and said, "I'm going to marry this guy," you'd say, "Oh, a guy who makes fun of women, a guy who just says that they're retarded." And look, I'm not trying to get some kind of an Alan Alda faux feminism thing, but it's one thing for you to say one thing about somehow the way women, the class of in society, but this guy has got a real problem with women. I mean, something happened. Something happened. Mama issues, broken heart. I don't know what. Remember what I'm telling you. When somebody goes out of their way to be ultra super nuclear feminine, sexy, desirous, hot, or super jacked, working out, big, military, tattooed hat, guns, a hunter, kind of Neanderthal. Okay, I got paleo. I'm a paleo. I'm a man. Okay. There's something up there. Something that hyper accentuated this. When you see sometimes, if you've ever done any kind of, I remember as a prosecutor, especially around abuse cases, one of the things you always look for regarding children with abuse is are they having problems with sleep disorder, eating, enuresis, or bedwetting, or are they hypersexualized? Is your daughter talking kind of inappropriately? Something's going on here. Whenever you exhibit something, not always, but a lot of times when something happens to you in your life, it kind of sticks, and then you have to look yourself in the mirror, and you got to figure out, am I happy with myself? Is this it? And sometimes I'll say, no. Because remember, when somebody hangs around, and I'm sorry to say this, but it's true. When some people hang around too much as to an image, we'll talk about this, because we get a lot of these too. The man, I'm a man. I got guns, and I go out and I kill and I hunt and I bow hunt and I eat the livers of the fallen felled ox, whatever. It's like, what are you, Jeremiah Johnson? Who are you? Who is that guy? Who is that? Grizzly Adams? Who are you? What happened to you? What are you? I'm a man. You're a okay. All right. I'm a and people stolen valor. Oh my God. They never got to the bottom with Pickles of that. Not really sure. Dang it. Maybe somebody else will follow it up. Okay. This is the part which is interesting. The same thing happens with women. So something happened, and I'm looking at this feller, and I'm thinking to myself, dear God, how did this get to this point this fast? Right off the bat, Dan Dangler said, thank you for being respectful towards OnlyFans models this week. A lot of podcasters are saying Andrew only debates, quote, OnlyFans dots, I guess, etc. Like we are dumb and worthless. Why are we catching strays? We don't like him either. LOL. Well, thank you for that. First, I said, and I wasn't sure. I didn't know what whatever was. By the way, did I read correctly where the head or the director of whatever is offering Candace 100,000 to come on his show to do a follow up? It's like, wait a minute, what? No more. No. We're not going to have any more debates. You're not going to have any more debates. These debates are so stupid. This killed the debate format, especially when we have the challenges. I mean, this killed it. It's almost like no more. That wasn't the debate. But thank you for that comment. Second, by the way, you have a follow up, and let me address this. This is we always stay respectful, though. Never name called. Appreciate that. Even though I know you don't agree with that lifestyle. Thank you. Oh, no, I don't. But here's the thing. So what? I would not be happy if my daughter did that. But here's the bottom line. Life has a big spectrum of stuff. I represented in my life, and this is so interesting, not only prosecuted, but I wouldn't say real prosecuted prostitutes, but nude dancers, couple, bikers. I am I would prefer that my daughter or my wife or somebody would be modest. I think modesty is far more sexy than, but listen, but that doesn't matter. I give you all kinds of stuff about I think about this, and you're going to say, well, you're from a different generation. Could be, but there are a lot of people from my generation who think differently. I don't really care about that. You're doing what you want. You're not, as long as people are not underage. This is nobody's forcing anybody to watch OnlyFans. Nobody. This is up to you. Fine. And if that's your platform, so be it. I would rather. Are you ready for this? And I'm changing the subject, so please forgive me. I find a lot of the. I saw it with Emmy. I'm sorry, Enemy Charlie. I thought was absolutely brilliant the way she destroyed him. I gotta tell you this because there's no way to fit this in, and I've got to tell you this. I commented on X regarding somebody who claims that Ellen DeGeneres is going blind after being diagnosed with Kuru, the disease linked to cannibalism. And I want to say, okay, now we've hit the wall. I don't want anybody banned or anything like that, but we have got to say, now hold it. Now, I don't like Candace. I don't like Ellen DeGeneres. I'm not a big fan. But I can, there is no credible basis for claiming that Ellen DeGeneres suffers from Kuru. This is an exceedingly rare, fatal prion disease, usually from eating cannibalism, but brain matter from the 4 people of Papua New Guinea, translated through ritual cannibalism involving infected human tissue, specifically brains. This did not happen. Plus, it's lethal. There's no evidence that she So what what I'm saying is, listen, I'm all for, hey, let's have some fun. Let's push that envelope, shall we? But take it easy. Again, this one is a cannibalism. This everybody, some of these folks get so everybody is a fed. The feds are getting upset. They're saying, well, no, he's not a fed. We would not hire this person. Sometimes people are just stupid. Not everything is fed slop. Not everything is intel. Not everything is a conspiracy theory. It's just not. It's just simply not. When this idiot, when Pickles went on the whatever to talk to OnlyFans people, they destroyed him. There was one, the first one, not Charlie, called him Chuck with the whole sniz thing, which is just, oh my God. If that was not Dr. Freud saying, hello, anybody notice? Anybody notice who's not home? This guy's got steamer trunk emotional baggage. I don't know what his problem with women or these women are. I have no idea. When Charlie went on, whatever, spoke to the woman, it was so respectful. He probably did more. He may have actually proselytized or brought people over, whatever that even means. But the two young ladies destroyed him. What he says was, you're live. She goes, no, I'm not live. Matter of fact, no. And what's interesting is that this guy who okay, but because I'm telling you, of all the people, I imagine this TPUSA or whatever the meeting was, who got together and said, who picked this idiot? Who was responsible for this idiot? Who? Honest to God, who is it? Who is this? Who is this guy? Why did you, when he said, hey, I'll do it, you should have said, listen, no. In fact, why in the name of God didn't TPUSA said, pursuant to Candace's entreaty, why didn't they say, oh, no, he has nothing to do with us? No, people are making the connection that you're, this guy is there anybody, is there anything about him that you would like? Everybody's got something where you say, you know what, hey, he's kind of quirky, or he got a point. I can't think of anybody I've ever seen where you can say, there's really nothing at all likable about this person. There's no thinking. His wife, I find more interesting than he is. Now, that's not saying a lot, but this comes down to, as the kids would say, dude, go away like a wounded animal. Go into your cave and just, mortally wounded, just go and recover. Just get out of the way. You know who's doing that right now is Erica. She's lying low. She's doing it. It baffles me. I can't understand why these folks are still doing it. Kitty Meow says, Pickles Wilson is the perfect representation of the new TPUSA. That might very well be true. This is why, in retrospect, they're probably thinking we should have we should have basically come out and disavowed ourselves. Stephen says, oldest known joke. Somewhere around 1900 BC, a young woman did not fart in her husband's lap. 1900 BC, Guinness Book of World Records, the oldest known joke. I guess Sumerian? Interesting. Thank you for that. Not sure what that was, but thank you nonetheless. Okay, so here we are right now. Please forgive me. I'm all over the place. I've got a lot to say. Now listen to me. Everybody listening? Okay, ready? Okay. Candace Owens is not a part of the issue involving Tyler Robinson's guilt or the ability to prove guilt to aggravated murder beyond a reasonable doubt. Nothing. She's not a part of it. She's not in court. She's not a counsel. She's not a defendant. She's not a party litigant. She's just not a part of it. I saw something before of Alex and Viva. Oh my God. and I'm going to talk to Alex too. I'm going to say, what are you going after? Candace is not the issue. Let me give you an example. Even at the height, not the height, but the height of the JFK discussion, the issue did not become Oliver Stone. It became the JFK case. It became the theories. But it wasn't about Oliver Stone. Oliver Stone was not the issue. Oliver Stone never became the issue. Oliver Stone never did. Never. Today, it's Candace Owens. Today, it would be about Oliver Stone. They never did it even then. It was never about. Mark Lane. It just doesn't. I cannot believe how this entire focus, every aspect, every photon of every beam of light of exposure is on Candace. Candace had nothing to do with this. She tore him up, yes, in terms of the debate, yes. But this case, the guilt or innocence of Tyler, has nothing to do with Candace Owens. Now, this particular meme, by the way, memes say it perfectly. Remember in the old days, we had cartoons. And the cartoon was what people looked at. Today, it's this freight train hitting this school bus stopped at a crossing. This is exactly right. This is what people are thinking. This is how people are. This is the way it is. Even other X memes. Check this out. This is Candace now as the warrior. This is it. Do you see what I'm saying? The weight of this, the social media weight of this, is almost taking on its own gravity. We've forgotten completely about the case. We got a lot of good stuff here, a lot of great stuff I want to bring to your attention. And now the latest one, too, is they're saying Pickles busted using an earpiece during the debate. Well, he had the wrong earpiece in. Or maybe his earpiece was listening to music or books on tape or hooked on phonics or something, because if that's what he did with an earpiece, maybe the earpiece was deliberately set into kind of, I don't know what the word is, double cross him or something. And now they're saying, because they're looking at his countenance, he was sweaty, he was greasy, he had no grooming, and his wife, ladies, his wife didn't even say, listen, do me a favor. I know this may not matter to you, but if you're going to go on camera, everybody who's ever been on camera, you normally have. I've always, if ever you're doing like a legitimate, like a TV thing, you bring makeup, powder or something. Make sure you don't shine or something, because these things hit you and you just don't know. Some people do it far too much, but everybody knows this. Because sometimes if you've been out for a while, you get that Nixon look, or maybe his own wife didn't look at him and say, I'm going to put just something on so you just don't look greasy and sweaty and nervous. He didn't even do this. That's the only part that makes no sense. Miss Pride says their intention was to demolish Candace. Instead, they amplify their own message to a wider audience. Yes, that's the incredible irony of this. And Josh says Candace crushed PBD, sat there like stunned with a man spread. Get a podium. Yeah, he did have that. Yeah, that man spread look. But look, here's the thing. PBD, he sat there. He was a mannequin, and now they're showing all of this. Oh, is he a Fed? Is he some kind of an Israeli agent? And okay, listen, if you want to spend any amount of time, and his background and where'd you get your money and what you do, I got to tell you something. I don't care. I've never been a fan. I don't dislike him, but he's done nothing for me. He's somebody trying to be something he's not. And whoever this moron is that works with him, his assistant or whatever, it's absolutely boorish, beyond boorish. Now, here's the one piece too. Poor Crowder. See, Crowder, I think he was a lot better in the old days. I think he's lost his fastball. And there was some suggestion that maybe he was mad at Candace because there might have been some reference to a domestic thing. I don't know. I don't like to get into people's personal lives, but that might be. But he just doesn't have that zing. You know who doesn't have that zing, if you ever did? Was Glenn Beck. You notice how Megan Kelly she's everything to everybody. She's kind of like right there. But so far as really Candace, I think Candace and of course there's Aaron. I've got a piece coming up from a good from Ian. Good to see he's out and about. He's excellent. There's people who are just, you know what I mean? They feel like I'm just going to jump in on this. And for reasons I will never know. This Judge Rule, Pickles, is on with Crowder during this little exchange. Listen to this one.
Nixon JFKU because she has.
Do you hear that?
They Nixon JFKU because she has a full stylist and makeup crew. Did they give you makeup and?
Now remember this. This is, as you know, this during the original debate, during the original Kennedy-Nixon debate. Don Hewitt told the story. He was the producer. Later on, became the executive producer of 60 Minutes. And he said Kennedy knew TV. Remember, his father owned a lot of movie companies, and that's believe it or not, that's where he made a lot of his money. Not the bootlegging thing per se, but movies, also Wall Street and all this other kind of stuff. So anyway, Kennedy was out in like convertibles. He had a tan. He wore a dark suit. He just knew this is black and white. Nixon wore a suit. I don't know what it was, light blue, powder blue. It washed out. I don't even know what it looked like. This was before anybody even considered that. I think he had the flu. He had a 5 o'clock shadow, and under his bottom lip, it was kind of sweaty. And they said, would you like some makeup? And what happened was, interestingly enough, Don Hewitt said that Kennedy said, no, I don't need any makeup. This is what he said. So that Nixon wouldn't hear that. He goes, okay, I don't need any makeup either. But of course, he went and had his own private makeup people put it on him. He knew this because the camera didn't work. Nobody knew nobody knew this camera. I was with a TV station one time, and they were very happy. The makeup gals, I never used them. This one time, and that was enough. But because you just need just a little bit of powder. That's it. But believe me, you do. Believe me. With those TV lights, you look horrible. But she got this gun. It was this new spray gun. She was so happy. Ooh, look at this. And she's spraying people, kind of like an Earl Scheib, one coat, one color. No, any car, any color, kind of a thing like that. Anyway, so she's blasting away. And for some reason, either she didn't gauge it right or she didn't get the concentration right. Everybody came out. They looked like, remember the way they would try to make Marlon Brando look like an Indian? It was like everybody looked tanned, but not tanned, but like we had keratonemia, like we had some kind of a keratin imbalance or something. We looked weird, like pirates. It was so strange. In the 70s, everybody in my high school class, I think we all went to this. Everybody had like zits for like one summer. I remember I had zits. It's like, okay, we went to this one guy, Dr. Weissman, this one guy. And he gave us this little stuff to use. And you have to match it to your color, skin color. So you take it, you put a drop, you mix it, nothing, drop. This could take 12 years. So people would say, what the hell? They would put a little bit more in there. And you had this Jeff Chandler look. So anyway, everybody realized just do this and that. Everybody did this. You know who told me also? Charles Grodin did this. Charles Grodin had a mirror. He cared about what he looked like. What's the angle? Where are you going to be sitting? How do you look? You see the way PBD sat with his legs open? His sock didn't come up. His ankle was showing. Little stupid things like that. You need somebody. Believe me when I tell you this. You need somebody to come and tell you, listen, how am I going to be sitting? Where's my shot? How many cameras? What's my camera? Where is my camera? And have somebody look at you and say, ooh, why? Side is not for you. I remember one time they had one of these boom. See, camera people, they didn't have this here. They don't care anything about it. Directors don't care what you look like. They decided they were going to they had this kind of a movable camera, and this guy's sweeping around, and these ladies were always correcting themselves straight on, but from the side, oh, not good. And I thought, they're gonna hate this. So you need somebody to say, somebody, your producer, your EP, so to speak, or AP, who in charge of photography. You want somebody to look and say, where are your cameras? Let me see this. Show me the monitor. I want to see the monitor. Show me the first camera. Show me the second camera. Yeah, good. Pickles, you're not sitting on that way. No. I'm gonna give you a jacket. Just a minute. We brought a sport coat along. No, you don't want that. Why? Because sometimes it gives a gut an impression, or it just doesn't look right. How look at the pictures of the underground cameras of Charlie. This is something to remember. Nobody's going to be telling you this. Nobody's looking and saying, how are you doing with that? No, that is not your side, my friend. That is not your side. And there are some people who have you can tell people. I know people who go into, when it comes to smiles, they have practiced this a million times, and you can see it. You can see it. I know one who turns her head to the side, and this is important stuff. Well, believe me, Pickles has never thought of this. Doesn't care about it. He's too good for this because he's too brilliant. He's such a rhetorician. But he never thought about this. And his wife's got to have something in her purse or something. It's not Candace's job to do hair and makeup or makeup. That's not her thing. In fact, she even addresses it. She put a little powder on for herself. And you can laugh all you want about this, and you may say, well, that's not a manly thing. Well, let me tell you something. Anybody who spends this much amount of time staring at their lats or biceps, believe me, they are egomaniacal, and they care about the way they look. And trust me when I'm telling you this. The first time you catch yourself on TV and you're in a position where you think you're awful, oh dear God, it is the worst. You almost want to cry. It's like, dear God, do I look like this? Anyway, enough of that. So make sure you have it. So let's go back to this. So Crowder says, did they try to JFK or Nixon you by virtue? And look at it. By the way, look at the picture he's doing right now. Look at this picture up the nostrils, like a hostage shot. I don't know what this blurred thing is. I don't know if this is second or third generation. This is like a bank surveillance camera. But even now, our friend doesn't care. I mean, it's okay. I'm glad you don't.
Did they Nixon JFK you? Because she has a full stylist and makeup crew. Did they give you makeup and no. You looked a little bit.
I would have refused.
You looked a little bit shiny. You looked a little shiny.
Refused it.
You looked a little shiny.
Look at that.
You looked a little shiny.
Refused it.
I would have refused it. You hear this? This is the Jadrul. This is a guy, he's not ready for prime time. He would have refused it. I mean, now listen, it's not grooming. This is everybody has this. This is part and parcel. There's a lighting show, a lighting place. I love this. It's on 11th Avenue, 40 something. It's called Barbizon Lighting. It is. Go to this. Walk into this. Walk into it. Bring your phone. Take a selfie. You know, there's outside selfies. You know, this is good. This is natural light. This is just, sun or whatever. That's pretty good. Go and they have a bunch of these setups. Take a selfie in each one of them and look at your picture. You won't believe it. You won't believe it, how great it looks. I mean, not you, but it looks almost like a defined portrait versus this. This is an art that people get the Academy Award for makeup. But this idiot, because see, this is it. He's a rube. He's a chuff. He's a churlish bore. He's a hayseed. He's a rusticator. He's a bombast. Did you hear him? He said, I would refuse it. I would refuse makeup.
You look shiny.
It.
You look a
Yeah, I
little
would've
shiny.
refused it.
You looked a little shiny.
Yeah, it looked a little shiny. It happens. But yeah, I mean, look.
Does she have Hakeem Olajuwon hands in real life?
What the hell is that?
The basketball player.
Large hands.
Yeah. No, she doesn't.
Okay, all right. Go ahead with your
She doesn't.
valid
She's
point.
small.
I'm being childish and stupid.
Yeah. See, this is one. Listen, there's something else that's important. And listen, I know it's fun. Sometimes it's fun to be one of the guys. Sometimes it's fun to be, hey, let's say some stuff that's really crass. Sometimes it's fun. When that traverses, by the way, if you care, if you don't care, it doesn't matter. This is all moot. But when it traverses that level of, I don't know when that is. But Crowder is trying desperately. He's kind of like, he's combining, bad boy versus whatever it is. I mean, it's really absolutely serious stuff. In any event, Kay says, there is no evidence of Steven Crowder being undeniably abusive to his wife. He lost me immediately after that. Love you, Grandpa Lionel. There is video evidence of him being undeniably abusive. Yeah, I saw that, but you know what? Again, I don't really care. I mean, she wasn't hurt or hit or whatever. That's a personal thing. There are other reasons to dismiss the show other than that. I'm not saying it's not relevant. Hi, Lionel. My favorite line from the debate, Candace Owens, I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you. Classic Candace. By the way, just say Julie. Julie, thank you for saying that, because a couple of things too. Somebody was saying, I can't believe that you believe that Candace, coined that expression. She didn't. This goes back, believe it or not, to Ed Koch, who said something like that. The memes that are going around are people who are saying that she said it was a quote. Daniel Patrick Moynihan said, you're entitled to your own opinion, but not your own facts. It's kind of like that. So when people say that and repeat it, maybe with or without attribution, it's a different story. But that was that line. Stephen says, presumed innocent was missing from the debate. Yeah, well, he's who's presumed innocent, Tyler or Candace? Let me say this again. This was about Candace Owens. This had absolutely nothing to do. This had nothing to do with anything involved. Is that, are you sure? Oh, I wish I was, what I'm giving up right now to talk to you, you have no idea. But that's okay. I'm here. I made a commitment. In any event. Now, this is the thing that's the most important, which is so critical to this. And I'm going to try this again. It is not about Candace. Repeat after me. It is not about Candace. It is not about Candace. It is not about Candace. Candace is doing her own thing. Candace, I thought, was nice enough to say, okay, we'll do this, but invite him into her home, sit there. She said, by the way, and she even said something to the effect, do I even have this? Read it yourself. Go to X, by the way. Remember, follow me on X at Lionel Media. But she even said, like, somebody straightened her hair, but she had to put on lip balm. She said her makeup person is not there. She's on vacation or something. This may come as a shock to you, really come as a shock to you, but I don't want to break it to you. But Candace is classy. And Candace doesn't have an inverted baseball cap. And she's not covered in tats, and she's not sitting there with a sleeveless, what do they call this? I don't want to say wife beater. I had a friend of mine who called it, this is terrible. He called it a Sicilian smoking jacket. It's just terrible. Terrible. One time there was a guy years ago who referred to a boombox as a third world briefcase. There's all these phrases. But Candace, being a woman of a particular stature in life, believes in things like makeup and hair. It's called grooming. I know that makeup was a shock to a lot of people. But I thought she looked fine. She wasn't overly made up. In fact, during the breaks, when she would do her own cut, she has a cap on. She didn't have that sniper look that old Erica did. And I can't believe I'm making this much attention over how people look. But this is where these folks are. We live in a kind of a boorish, classless society where the normal idiosyncrasies of grooming and presentation, it's lost on people. I mean, it's just lost on people. Nobody cares about what they say. Nobody cares about the amount of cursing. Oh, listen, an occasional F-bomb here and there goes to show you're human. Also reminds people that it's not edited. But we've really lost. We are classless. We are crass. And this guy, he just has no class. This is the kind of guy who another one too this is also something. I'm sorry, men. There's something to be said, and you may not, I know Pickles won't get this. Do me a favor. If you're going to wear a suit, stop this white rubber-soled, kind of like the Xenia look. That's great if you've got shorts on. It's great if you're wearing jeans. Wear dress shoes. Make sure, and this is something nobody ever does, make sure if you're going to have your legs crossed, make sure they're mid-calf. I know this sounds like you're going to say, what is he talking about? When you have bare ankle short, you know who had the best stockings ever? Rodney Dangerfield. He had those classic 60s. They look almost like sheer silk. I mean, they were just sheer. Really, they even had, men wore garters to make sure that when you cross your legs, this is lost art. This is done. This is you see today, it's so sad. You'll see men wearing a pocket square that matches the tie. Oh no. Come on. Or that stupid triangle pocket square, the triangle. So, but then you've got this. Seriously, what do you want? Look at this guy.
JFKU, because she has a full stylist and makeup crew. Did they give you makeup and?
This is where we are. This is where we are. Okay, and I'm sorry. And listen, a lot of people will say, "Look, I'm going to be like me by myself. That's okay. That's groovy. No problem." But this was his chance. This was going to be forever emblazoned for the rest of your life. And again, I blame his wife. His wife did. Maybe I don't know her. Maybe she's a part of it. Dare I say the bowling alley chic? I don't know. But I think somebody would say, you can't do this. You would think somebody, and by the way, most of the stuff he has is he's in a room, it's dark and he's smoking. He doesn't care. All right. I'm making too much about it. Too much about it. We lost this. I want to say one more thing. And this is something which I think goes a little bit. How do I say this? I don't want to be too much for this, but I'm gonna say this. There is this phrase about feds, the feds, and the fed sloppers and all this. Okay, there is a guy. There's this fellow. What's his name? Llewellyn. Remember that's kind of a tall, skinny, blonde guy. Llewellyn. He had a name. He was good for an hour and a half. He was part of the TPUSA, or rather, dare I say, an Epicene group of white, kind of thin, frail, white yacht club kind of, you know what I mean? Spintry, Epicene. Am I getting this across? Boyish, very young, never women that are attractive or over the age of 30. It's always this group. But the biggest giveaway is this dude. And you'll see immediately what I'm talking about.
One of the reasons why I moved out of Utah was because of some of these crazy people.
You know who this is, right? It's a guy, Nick Shirley.
And in Utah, there's been 2 shootings at political events. They obviously just killed Charlie Kirk. And there's also...
Now push the narrative. Why is he there? What is he doing? What is he doing? He's pushing the narrative. What's the narrative? Listen carefully.
A time at a protest when somebody opened fire. Somebody in the FBI needs to go in and investigate.
The FBI needs to go and investigate. Okay, here we go. Listen to this. Listen.
What's happening in Utah with these groups like Antifa
Antifa.
and the people that control and run these protests.
Antifa. They run the protests. See, it's the left who are doing this. It's the left. See, this is the left. See, Charlie worried about the left. It's not the right. It's the left. Sound familiar?
In Utah, there needs to be a full-fledged investigation because something is happening in there and people are dying. 2 people have died now in Utah due to these crazy liberals.
See this? The worst. Who picks this guy? Again, who this is your spokesperson? You know what they're doing. The narrative is it's the left. It's not the right. No. It's the left. See, this is the whole thing. Tyler Robinson is from the left. Tyler Robinson and his woolly bully trans girlfriend Luna is from the left, from the trans left, the radical liberals, not the right. Oh no, not some offshoot of MAGA or no, and certainly no one who dare I say shares our our rather idiosyncratic view of Middle East policy. It's not somebody who supports Israel or anything, no, or the government or American intel. No, this is the left. See, that's who these people were. That's why that's why they said that look at this. This is when Pickles says, hey, look at this. I've got right now. This is the left. I've got this. The last thing he said, the left are going to do me in. They think we're just going. And listen, I'm not saying that Antifa are nothing to be worried about. Or look at Andy, no. Oh, no. But we see through this. We know what's going on. It's something that's just obvious. It's not even, when all the dust is settled, by the way, by Monday, let me ask you something. Have you noticed anybody even talking seriously about Pickles? Andy? Have you seen anywhere, anybody, any place that said, this guy was fantastic? I put together a reel of Andy's highlight. Shh. Did you notice it? Shh. Did you? No, there are none. They want you to forget this as soon as possible. Monday is a different story. We got other problems to worry about. We got these poor American sailors on board, people jumping overboard. Did you see the conditions of our sailors on ships for 209 months at sea? And they asked Trump, he said, what did he go? It's only the beginning. It's not long enough. I said, what are you talking about? There's no food. There's no produce. It's horrible. Toilets backed up. Women have no, tampons or pads or anything for their own particular hygiene. It's brutal. That's what they should be talking about. If you watch Monday, it changes drastically. They're done with this guy. They're done. So he's dropped $300K. I don't know who paid it. I have no idea. Somebody paid him. He paid it, or somebody reimbursed him, or somebody secured it. In any event, somebody went and paid for this. So he would destroy himself. There's nobody who said, listen, you're great. There's nobody who said, hey, listen, Andy, yeah, what's the name of your group again? I'd like to sign up. You were great. I didn't know about you before, but how many times have you heard this? How many people have said, including, that Unfucked America, Z Cohen, Sanchez Cohen, or who by all inspection is a very vociferous lib who is in Candace's corner because TPUSA are so despicable. You see how all this is changing? Question number 1, yes or no? Remember, yes is always number one. Two, just like on the phone. Two is no. Have you seen anywhere, any poll, any legitimate story, any movement, anybody that shows an overwhelming, or at least a significant group of people who think that Andy Pickles, Mr. Pickles, did well, scored a victory against Candace? Did you see anywhere? If you saw that, press 1. If you didn't see that, press 2. Did you see anywhere and say, you're good? That was really great. That's fantastic. You were so good. You know what? You've got a really, you made so many great points about this. And now I'm almost 100% convinced in Tyler Robinson's guilt. As somebody says from the Tim Pool podcast, that's another one. I don't know what happened to that guy. There are so many, the books would be called, I don't know what happened to that guy. Right, we knew something was wrong right off the bat when they all went. Remember when they went to all the how do I say this? All of the influencers went to the White House and they were handed their Epstein binder and they met with people. And didn't Pool, was it Tim or somebody who met with Netanyahu or somebody? I mean, the president didn't realize this. Like, don't get these people together. It's like if you're in the hood, so to speak, and you're seen driving around a police car. Even if they picked you up, this does not help your image at all. None of it does. This is what's so fantastic about this. The president doesn't even understand. It's like, Mr. President, these people here today, this is a faction you may not have ever dealt with before. This is the same group of people that laud and support. I hope you saw yesterday that incredible video, Yankin and Bankin. But this is the people who support Tucker Carlson and MTG and Joe Kent and Thomas Massey and everybody else for that matter. These are people who believe in this. There is a new world. You do know this. And when you took these once very popular instigators, I should call them that, these influencers, brought them to the White House, you just told everybody that they are now part of the propaganda set. You marked them. You ruined them. But they didn't realize this because they thought, I'm going to the White House. I'm going to the White House. And I'm going because the president called me, because that's how big I am. And we said, okay, make sure when you stand up, make sure you don't hide your face from behind the binder. We want to see who you are. Smile. And there they are. It's incredible. I want to know what happened. How did this get to Candace? Now, here was an excellent point. And by the way, one of our most treasured and most absolutely wonderful commentators and the like is our friend Ian.
He owned a firearms company, I think.
And Ian Carroll speaks regarding this. And always good to see him. But he talks about something which is very, 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 very critical. And this is where he breaks apart. See, this is where Pickles thought, I'm making a great point because I'm a gun smith and I'm a gun expert. Were you in the military? Well, I wasn't a sniper. I didn't say you were in the sniper. Were you in the military? Well, I wasn't in the military. Were you in the military? Well, I'm not sure if I was in the military. Am I in the military? Well, I'm not really sure. He never really answered the question. Yes or no, were you in the military? I don't really know about that. But anyway, his whole thing is, I have this knowledge about guns. And even though, remember, the issue from the prosecution's point of view is not whether any alternative hypothesis that Candace has makes any sense. The issue is, do you have anything to either prove or disprove the prosecution's case? But anyway, watch this.
And he owned a firearms company, I think, is the idea. So he's supposed to be an expert in firearms to a certain degree, apparently, based upon his self-proclaimed bio. And then he says this.
150 grain Remington core locks absolutely could shatter when it hits the neck of any human being. When you say that there's some steel neck and it's a smaller caliber, you have to make a counter explanation. Why wouldn't a smaller caliber also go through bone?
It could. I didn't say it can't.
Right, exactly. So if that's the case, then ammunition is going to be
Smaller Smaller rounds often penetrate more, actually. It's kind of counterintuitive.
The critical key here, and if we have frangible ammunition, which we do in this case, a flex tip.
Do you hear that? We have frangible ammunition, which we do in this case, a flex tip, soft tip. One more time.
Then ammunition is going to be the critical key here. And if we have frangible ammunition, which we do in this case, a flex tip round, well, I'm sorry, not a flex tip, a soft point round from 100.
That's not frangible. That's not a frangible round. Totally different. Soft point, not frangible. Frangible designed to sort of turn to tiny particles on impact so that it doesn't penetrate anything and won't hurt, civilians around, often carried by police officers. That's not what a soft point is at all. And he should know that. A soft point is a hunting round designed to mushroom and expand within the wound cavity and penetrate with expansion to kill an animal as effectively as possible. It's not designed to break up into tiny little pieces. And it's also not designed to fully penetrate like a full metal jacket round would be.
50 grain Remington core lock, that's just a small jacket that goes around the actual lead piece. This thing could have split apart in air for all we know. But
In air.
Another amazing magical bullet statement. We just can't get enough of them. Apparently, soft point rounds can just break up in the air without even hitting anything.
Yeah.
To quote Andrew Wilson. So either we're being disingenuous to try to manipulate a point out of nowhere, or we're really stupid and have been lying about our past expertise with firearms and know nothing about bullets.
Right.
Because you can literally just Google that shit.
Okay, there we have it. Now I understand somebody suggested that either Valhalla or somebody had gone through his military background or claims, which is a problem. Now, the bottom line is simply this. Let me see if I can go back and explain this to you. Very, very important. Okay, everybody with me? Good. And I love Ian. I'm glad I think he's terrific. There are some people where you say, you know what, I'd like to meet that guy. I'd like to get to know. Very few people where I say, I'd like to meet her. I bet you they'd be nice if you were just sharing a meal. I mean it. I'm not just being gratuitous about it. But a couple of things to bring your attention. Number one, now work with me on this. I don't care if it was frangible, unfrangible, if it was a full metal jacket, if it was a hollow point, cop killer, black talon, musket ball, 50 caliber, 40 caliber, mag, mini mag, a Wildy. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. Flew apart in the sky, didn't part of flip, doesn't matter. Here's why. If I'm going to go to trial right now, I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, how was Charlie Kirk killed? By what instrument was Charlie Kirk killed? Start right there. Forget the ballot. Forget the bullets. Where did these bullets come from? The frangible, yes. Sharp point, hollow point, yes. Yes. Where did this come from? Where did this come from? How did it get there? It's the Mauser 98. Well, are you sure about that, prosecution? Yes. You're sure about that? You're sure about that? Yes. That's the reason. So that's the way, and that's the murder weapon? Yes. You sure about that? Yes. Okay, good. Well, ATF just said it was inconclusive. What about that? That's not guilty. Let me give you an analogy. I think I've told you this. Let's assume you're charged with possession of cocaine. You are. Possession of cocaine. Big bags of it. They come into your apartment and you've got scales and money and you're looking weird and you're counting them and it's everywhere. It's like the scene from Goodfellas, all over the place, Okay. You're charged with trafficking. You're looking at life plus, if there is such a thing, in prison. They take the cocaine and they analyze it and they say it's inconclusive. Bags and bags, pounds and pounds, kilo upon kilo, stacked up, wrapped, ready to be transported, and the lab says, we can't tell. Can't tell if it's cocaine. You have to affirmatively prove beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt that that stuff possessed, that stuff trafficked was cocaine, and you can't. You know what that's called? It's called not guilty. I don't care if it's handprints are on it. I don't care if he's a drug user. I don't care if everybody in the room is high. I don't care if everybody does a piss test and shows up positive. I don't care. The stuff that he was in possession of allegedly is inconclusive. Don't know if it was cocaine. Could be, not sure, I don't know. That's not guilty. So here's my question. And this is the only thing I've ever thought was important. How are you able to prove that Tyler Robinson killed anybody? How? If it was a bomb, that's one thing. You could say there is no, but you've got this rifle. You've got this rifle. And not only that, to add to it. And this guy, let me see if I can say this. This expert, and by the way, who either was or wasn't in the military, either was or wasn't in the army, who said, I wasn't a sniper, but I was a private life. And it was very equivocal. Most of the time, people watch Don Shipley's channel, people who claim to be Navy SEALs. Were you or were you not in the military? Yes. I was in the Navy. I was in the Army. Yes, I wasn't. They're proud of it. I was in the military. You got your DD-214? Well, I'm going to show you whatever I was. What was your MOS? I was at E5. Okay, fine. They're very specific. Where'd you do your basic training? Where were you stationed? What do you do? They just know this stuff. Have you ever talked to anybody in the military? Maybe you are. You're so specific. Well, I was an M3 Delta. I was a F Foxtrot. What is that? Military. I don't know what you're saying. They can't even help it. They say, don't be so specific. Treat me like I'm just a civilian. Were you in the military or not? And just answer, yeah. Well, what branch? Army. What was your rank? This guy speaks like somebody who's never been, it's like me trying to explain I was in the Italian army, but I don't even know their ranks or their version of the MOS or where they are or where you're stationed. Do you know what this is like when you say I was in the military? And then his wife, if I recall correctly, volunteered about him being a sniper or something. Now, here's the thing. If my wife ever says to anybody in passing that I was a sniper in the military, I would say, excuse me, yes, honey, we're going to a neurologist. Why? Because I've never said that. And if you're hearing that, I think you're psychotic. I've never said that. I've never said I was in the military. Where are you hearing this from? You don't just come up with that. You don't make a mistake. You don't just say, so now we're talking really serious. That's why the only thing I wish had happened, this is not a criticism, but what I wish had happened was more of a, were you or were you not in the military? The United States military. Well, I was, but how long were you in the military? I want an answer. A year, 2 years. What was your term? Did you leave early? Were you enlisted? There's no draft, but you're not part of some type of an OCS. Okay, fine. Have you ever claimed to have been in the military? Now, you want to lock him in so that all the sleuths can go through every interview ever said, where he said I was in the military. Where did this sniper thing come from? Well, my wife, she may think, come here, Mrs. Pickles, yeah. Did you say that? Yeah. This. When somebody lies about little things, my friend Gordon Soldy used to say, some people would rather climb up a tree and lie than stand there and tell the truth. There's something very frightening about that. Very frightening. So this is interesting. But while he's talking about the bullet, did you hear this? As it's traveling through the air, it just disintegrates. The force, the speed. What kind of a bullet is this? You shoot it. What happened? Did you miss? No, you didn't miss. What? It just disintegrated in the air. That fast? You fire it, and in a heptosecond, it disintegrates. It has to disintegrate before it even gets there. This is in what? How many milliseconds? This story doesn't make any sense. And like anything else, I'll give you an example. When 9/11 happened, people start to fill in the blanks. I've seen it. I don't know what you call this phenomenon, but I will explain this to you. People would say, why, this is an analogy, right? This is an analogy. Why did 3 steel structures collapse on their own footprint and fall at free fall speeds on September the 11th? 25 years next month. Why did they do it? 2 of the buildings, people answer, was because of jet fuel. Really? Yes. When the planes hit and they exploded, the jet fuel didn't just blow up. It was on fire and it oozed like lava and it just poured through. And then it went down the sides of the buildings and down the shaft so that the core of the building from top to bottom was all eliminated. There wasn't a part that just dropped and then stopped. There wasn't the building where you see the core sticking out like a bone, through. No, the whole thing just collapsed. It all fell. There was no resistance. It was like it fell at free fall speed. And as I'm explaining this, you realize if you have just a scintilla of common sense, it's impossible. This was a controlled demolition. This was somebody making room as it fell. You're getting rid of the floors below it. It doesn't work like that. Not to mention there's pyroclastic dust and squibs and the whole bit. And when you talk to people, they were so desperate to not view-proof their home, they will make things up. Well, see what happened was the temperature is so great. It's like it's kerosene. Yeah. But it's so at those temperatures, and they will make stuff up and hang themselves. And they don't even realize it. Flight 93 Shanksville. When I said, if this is, I know this is the gun, if this is the plane, all of a sudden, Todd Beam, remember, let's roll. And it hit the ground. Why is there no plane there? Oh, that's easy. It was flying at such a speed, such high speeds, that when it hit the ground, it disintegrated. It atomized into submolecular 6-ton titanium engines, wheels, people, luggage, beverage carts, seats, windows, ailerons, cockpits, wires, wheels, all just gone because there's nothing at Shanksville, Pennsylvania. There is 8 miles away. There's a debris field in New Baltimore and Indian Lake. But they just and they also said, you see, Pennsylvania, that's a mining area. And they were mining. And sometimes the ground is so loose by virtue of the mining that like a Warner Brothers cartoon, it just. Now, I bring this up because I hear this. And when you have weak-willed, stupid people like Pickles, they are so worried. This is a master debater, by the way, master rhetorician. This is blood sports. This is not your usual guy. He is so interested in this that he will just make things up. Just make up stuff that just maybe war record, I don't know, military record, I don't know, we'll look into that. But he makes up stuff about a bullet flying apart. Do me a favor. The next time you're in a Dick's Sporting Goods or any place where they sell hunting goods, go in the back and say, excuse me, mister, yes, you don't have anybody here. No. Can I ask you a question? I'm looking for a round. Maybe you know of it. That when I shoot it from a 30, from a Mauser, 30-6, Mauser 90, something like that. I want it to disintegrate in the air before it hits the target. In that 1 millisecond, whatever amount of time, bang, hit, bang, hit, bang, hit. In that amount of time, it just completely disintegrated. Do you know what that brand will be? And the person will tell you, that has never happened in the history. No, excuse me. It happens sometimes. Sometimes it disintegrates en route to the target. It just atomizes. It disintegrates. It's a frangible bullet. He said this with a straight face, said it in front of Candace, knowing it's going to be forever locked in, and he doesn't care. He doesn't care because his goal is not to tell you the truth. It's not to actually debate. It's, I'm going to say whatever I want that I think creates the reality that best articulates and proposes my worldview, even though it doesn't exist in real life. I'm just going to make it up. I'm just going to make it up. Years ago, maybe when you were younger in the 60s, they said, you can get pregnant and get VD off of a toilet seat. And doctors would say, how? Well, and they would come up with some. You see what we're dealing with today? So you got a guy who doesn't know anything about makeup. A wife of his, who, by the way, is feeding him. Remember when they were feeding them all these questions. And by the way, they said he had an earpiece. I hope he doesn't, because whoever is speaking the earpiece. By the way, time out. Side note, never wear an earpiece. Never. 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 I've worn an IFB. And when you do this, if somebody's talking to you, sometimes you get this phenomenon. Yes. And I feel that and as soon as you hear somebody talking to you, you stop. And they will invariably say this after you're speaking. Give you an example. We had a director one time who would say, like, for example, you want somebody to say, okay, Rap, that's what you want to hear. Just that simple. Okay, thank you so much. Well, Dave, it's been a pleasure. Our guest, Dave Gillespie, author of Things in Your Bathroom That Can Kill You. Dave, thanks for coming back. Now we'll go back to Joe. Well, that's a wrap. That's all you want to hear. Rap. That's a nice earpiece, a nice command. Sometimes people would do this. People who didn't know. Ask him if the source of the bacteria, and what you're doing is you're like this. And you're listening. So if you have the wrong person giving you the wrong message at the wrong speed, it makes you look retarded. It's you don't. It's like when somebody has, if you ever, not that this would happen, but if you're listening to a delay or to an earpiece and you're on delay. Sometimes on radio you have that when you have a traffic guy, and you'll hear yourself 7 seconds later. So all of this stuff about earpieces and no. If you had an earpiece that didn't work, and they're also dangerous, don't ever use one, because you have to be of such coordination. You've got to you got to make sure the volume is upright, and you don't want to shock somebody. You don't all of a sudden say, hey, I should have checked this before. And you first will go like this. You want to, believe me, I've seen this a million times. It's like in the old days, years ago, people would say in wrestling, well, they use chicken blood. Chicken blood. Yeah, they use chicken blood. No, they don't. But they would repeat this trope, this thing that they would think. So that doesn't matter. This is all turned into Candace. Did Candace, she has a staff, did she have hair and makeup? Why didn't they give it to you? Candace was saying about how she got food for people. It's ridiculous. I saw today, maybe, because it was on my my X feed, Alex and Viva talking about 30 seconds. I couldn't talk about this. I just couldn't listen. How come Candace can say this, but who cares about Candace? And I love her to death. And I think she'll probably tell you the same thing. She'll say, you're right. I'm not on trial. Just like Dorothy Kilgallen was never the subject of anything. Oliver Stone wasn't. This is what you have to grasp here. So this debate that it's fun. It's terrific. I think it's hit its critical mass. It's fun. There's still some stuff on X, but we're just kind of repeating ourselves. It's over. You're not going to see this again. You're not going to see it again. You're not going to see him again. You can't see him again. What does he do? Because he's not this, wow, this is great. It's not that person who save the day. He's not like a Sully Sullenberger. Remember that? Even Sully, remember Sully, they tried to, I think Sully's, but he has dementia or something now, or anyway, I don't know if it's true, but Sully Sullenberger, he landed his plane in the Hudson. We could look out the window and see the plane. Now, this guy was a hero until they realized, what is he going to do? He never was a star. He just was kind of boring. He's a great pilot, but it didn't convert. What do you think this guy's going to do? What? Do you think the OnlyFans ladies are going to be inviting him anymore? No. Do you think anybody said, I would love to see? Well, what do you think about this? And what do you think about recruitment levels? And by the way, have you ever thought about the hermeneutics of the hermeneutics of, I guess you might want to suggest the epistemology of hate versus populism? No, he's not going to be on any kind of point counterpoint. He's going to get no. I mean, can you imagine somebody wanting to endorse him? Products? Hello, this is Pickles for frangible bullets. If you'd like a bullet to completely disintegrate in a microsecond, get my brand. He actually said this. I'm gonna just tell you, a bullet, bang, comes out like a shotgun shell. And tell me how this thing works. Tell me. So, my friends, we will continue with this. Your thoughts. Do we know anything, by the way? We're going to get to more of his military. I don't know why that bothers me, because I'm such a big Don Shipley fan on Bud's UBS he and his wife traveled, Diane, they traveled around the country, and there'll be some guy. And you have to see this. Don Shipley is his name. Shipley. And he has access to all of the Navy SEALs since the days of frogmen in like 1943. And then SEALs were created during the Kennedy administration. And he has every class, the year. It's like, what's your BUDS class number? This is your basic underwater demolition SEALs class. Everybody remembers their number and when they received it. And they were frogmen before, like in 1943, but pre-1963, but those really aren't here. Any event, everybody remembers. It's like remembering the year you graduated from high school. You said your BUDS class number over and over and over. It's the biggest day of your life. You were a Navy SEAL, and you remember when it was, who was there, and you can mention names of people and your commanding officer and where you were, and at Coronado, when you walk through the double glass doors to the right, there's the administration. You know everything about this place, like you do when you went to high school, right? So people will call up Don Shipley and say, my mother has met this guy who claims to be a Navy SEAL, and I don't know about it. Well, what's his name? He says, Doofus McGee Jr. And just a minute, Don gets his glasses and he goes, nope. There have been 3 McGees in the entire history, and they were in 1960. No, that's not him. He wasn't there. And he always says that when he finds somebody, they say it was top secret. I can't tell you. My records were burned in some kind of a fire in St. Louis. And there's got to be some kind of mistake, or I stand by my whatever. Sure enough, he'll call this woman. He said, do me a favor, get this guy on the phone. They do a 3-way call. And Don Shipley will come on. He goes, somebody will say, hey, Doofus, yeah, I got a friend of mine here who's in the Navy. He wants to talk to you. And Don will come on and says, hey, shipmate. I guess that's a Navy thing. He goes, hey, how are you? By golly. Yeah, I understand you're a Navy SEAL. I say, well, by gum, by golly, by gee whiz, cheese whiz, and by dag nabbit. He gives all these colloquialisms. Well, that's pretty impressive. Well, thank you for your service, sir. Well, that's okay. Somebody had to do it. And there's an expression, the only thing, yesterday was the worst day until today or something. I don't know. So he said, by the way, would you happen to know your BUDS class? Huh? Doofus, Mr. Mc, do you happen to know your BUDS class? Well, I don't know. It was a long time ago. I said, well, roughly. Do you know what that was? Well, do you have any buddies whose names you recall? Well, I don't know. You don't know. What time of the year was it? In the winter? Or where'd you graduate from? Was it Coronado? Was it what was your commanding officer's name? I had some brain damage in the war. Oh, okay. Well, can you give me a? Well, what about your name? See, your name doesn't appear anywhere. Well, it was top secret. Anyway, make a long story short. Shipley will get this person and say, "You don't understand that I'm a retired SEAL. This is the list. There's no top secret. This is just the training class. I gotcha." The great Joe Tex would say. And they would say, you don't understand. That's wrong. That's numbnuts. That's this guy. That's our friend. This is a guy who says, you don't understand. I've been wanting legitimacy my whole life. And for some particular reason, and I don't know how, I've confused people or duped them into thinking that I possess a preternatural ability to, how do I say this? A preternatural ability to speak, to debate. I'm deadly. I'm so deadly that TPUSA hired me to teach these people how to debate like I do. What you saw the other day, that's me. And he doesn't bat an eye. And they're so deluded by this. And I think his wife is smarter than he. She can't possibly not say, "Oh, honey, what did you do? How about the jiggling the foot?" I've seen people waiting for, STD results who were more, calm than this. It's something. And it doesn't stop. But we're going to keep this up because we're not going to let this go. And let me thank you, dear friends. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for letting me into your world. Thank you for the kind thoughts. Thank you for your contributions and the like. Please follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Please make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you like the video. And until later on, make sure you hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. And until next time, my friends, remember the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.